what is a database? Moving on to the various kinds of database services which are available in AWS cloud. So near about each and every type of database which is there available in the on-premise environment, the similar or equivalent is available in Amazon also for the same service. So, but first of all, we should understand what the database is. So it is actually a collection of individual data items which are stored in a structured manner, and that is known as a database. So we have got some information which is stored in a structured manner, and that information in the structured way is known as database. It provides an ability to store large amount of data or information into a structured way, and then it gives you an ability that you can access it also quickly. When there is a lot of data, if you put it in the text form, it will become difficult for you to access and get the information out of it. With databases, the structure that we create for the databases, it becomes easy for us to access the information which is required to be used by us. It also helps us to ensure the security that is there, so that unauthorized people are not able to access the data that you have created. Now there are two kinds of databases which are there. First is relational databases and another is non-relational databases. So in general terms, when we understand about the databases, what we have actually seen in the our childhood days, or when we started learning about the databases, we have understood that what is a database? It is a collection of tables, right? It is a collection of tables. And what is a table? Table is the structured way in which your data is stored. So when I draw a table, my table has got certain columns, and a collection of column items makes a row. This is how the databases looks like. So whatever information is stored in the row, we are able to access and use the information for any XYZ purpose. Okay. So when we talk about the databases in cloud, it is still the same. So the meaning of the databases is not changed. We still have the databases in cloud, but then with the time and with the evolution of the type of information, there are various categories of the databases which are being used at present in the market. So we will be taking up one by one all the kind of databases in the syllabus. Basically, if you see the exam point of view, you have got this relational databases, you have got this key value databases, the one which is diminished, you must not be able to see it. So there are certain type of databases which are actually you are going to use into your exam, but then you should know what all these kind of databases are. So the first and the foremost type of database that I am going to discuss about is my relational databases. Okay, so when I say relational databases, so that means what? My tables that I'm going to create in the database, they will be related to each other with some key field. So whenever you are creating a database, the database that we all know is, we always have a primary key which is there in the database, which is actually uniquely identifying a record in the table. And the primary key that we are using over here is common in all the tables, so that the information which is stored in this table can be related to this table and this table. Suppose, say, if I take an example where actually I am taking up the case where we are talking about a student database, maybe, or a school database, if I talk about that in that sense. So for a student, there will be a database which will be a admission table. So there will be a table, admission table. So in this table, there will be the enrollment number of the student, and then all the information, what is his address, mobile number, father's name, mother's name, x, y, z, a lot of information will be there. And then there will be a database class, there will be a table, class sixth table, suppose, say. Now this enrollment number over here in the admission table will be referencing to the same student when we come to the class sixth table. So the enrollment number, maybe if it is for Anuj, so this enrollment number will refer to Anuj in all the tables. So that is known as a primary key. So that means every table which is there in my database are having a relation with each other with the help of primary key, composite keys. Many types of keys are there, so we are not going to go into the details because we are not actually learning the databases over here. We are learning how you can create the database in cloud and what all are the options that are available with Amazon. So this is what a relational databases are. In that, the tables are interrelated to each other. So this is known as relational database system, RDBMS. We call it as relational database management system. We have seen a lot of relational database management systems when we are working in real world. We have got MS SQL, we have got MySQL, we have got Oracle, we have got MariaDB. So many kinds of databases are there in the on-premise environment when we are working in the not cloud environment. So those kind of databases are there. So when we talk about the same databases in cloud and we want to have the similar relational database to be created in the cloud, then we take up these services which are offered to us by Amazon. This is Aurora and RDS. Okay, so these are the two services which are offered to us by Amazon for creating those relational databases, which actually helps us to create the OLTP kind of databases where you can do the transactions. Okay, so wherever you want to create a transaction which is ACID compliant, so ACID is actually atomicity, consistency, isolation and durability. So the features that you expect from the data that is being stored, so you should be able to identify it uniquely. The data should be consistent. Whenever you are working on the data, it should be isolated and it should be durable when you store the data into the database. So all these things has to be taken care, and you should be able to access the data that you have stored in the table. So if you want to have such kind of databases in Amazon, Amazon gives you the facility with the help of Aurora and RDS. Some people are asking what is a database instance. So instance is always the same, my EC2 instance. If you create a database on it, that means you install MySQL, MS SQL or Oracle on it, it will become a database instance. So there is nothing new into that. Database instance is like a normal instance, but you are going to install the database services onto that particular. Okay, so if you have any kind of requirement where you want to have a ERP or CRM kind of database that is to be created, the traditional database where the strict tables, strict structures are there, so then you make use of these relational database services which are offered to us by Amazon in the form of RDS, that is relational database service, and Aurora. We will be going into the details what RDS, what Aurora, everything. We will be going on to that details. See, I have told you the full form of ACID transactions. ACID, A stands for atomicity, C stands for consistency, I stands for isolation, and D stands for durability. So when I say atomicity, that means the entire transaction takes place at once or it does not happen. So either it will happen or it will not happen. That is what is known as atomicity. When I say consistency, that means the database must be consistent before the transaction and after the transaction. So if your table or if your database is supporting this particular, that your data which is stored inside the database is consistent before the database started the transaction and after the database ended the transaction. So that means consistency of the data. Isolation, that means when multiple transactions are occurring, they will occur independently. It won't be that one transaction will interrupt other transaction and both of them will fail. So it will be if multiple transactions are happening, they will occur independently without interfering each other. That is known as isolation. And D stands for durability. So when I say durability, that means the changes that are successful when you are executing the transaction, if the changes are successful, even if the database fails after some times, your data should be there which is updated and was confirmed while that the transaction is successful. So that is known as the ACID property. It is actually a property of a database where you have to maintain the atomicity, consistency, isolation and durability of the transactions which are happening. Okay, So this is actually a feature of a database. So when we say I have a good database, that means it is actually a asset compliant database. So these kind of features are there into it. So if in Amazon you are looking for it, then these are the two services which are going to help you out. And then if you are looking for a database where you are looking for a high throughput, low latency, when I say low latency, it is a single digit millisecond time of response. So I have a database, or say I have a table, whatever information is stored in the table, even if the size of the database is in terabytes, if I'm trying to fetch the information, I'll get the response within single digit millisecond. If you are looking for such kind of high throughput, low latency kind of databases, where you can do reads and writes into the database endlessly, and then the most important thing is that you are not bounded with the structured database that usually we have with our relational database systems. So you want an unstructured database to be created. So in that case, we have these key value databases. So Amazon gives you it in the form of DynamoDB. This is the name of the service which is offered by Amazon. Where it is being used, so if you have a real time bidding where you need a quick response to whatever inputs are being given by the users, if you have a shopping cart, social sites, if you have clicked something, if you are searching for something on Amazon, and then when you come to the Facebook on your social site, you will start seeing the ads related to that particular search that you have done when you are doing some analytical study and inputting that particular into the system. So over there you can use these key value databases, and Amazon offers you this service in the form of DynamoDB. Okay, the third kind of service that Amazon offers you is the document DB. So suppose say you want to store documents and access them quickly by querying the certain attribute of that particular database. So if you want to create a database of documents, then you need a document DB service by Amazon. It is basically used for the content management functions. So this is another service that is offered by Amazon. Then you have the cache services which are being offered. So these are known as in-memory databases. In-memory databases, that means you won't be storing your data into any SSD or HDD drive. It will be actually in a kind of storage which is much faster than the SSD or HHD storage. So you can consider it as a kind of RAM kind of memory. So your whole database is created in the RAM, but this is actually a cache. Cache means temporary storage. So you will be able to do the transactions at a quicker rate, but this memory is not persistent memory. So it has to be copied and backed up by a standard memory structures. So Amazon gives you this particular ability that if you want to query the database or the information that you have stored into it, and over there you want a very less latency to be incurred on the transactions which are happening, then you can make use of these in memory databases. Amazon offers you the same service with the name Elastic Cache. So what happens? The question appears on in front of your screen. The answer appears in front of your screen. The person who answers, the time at which he has submitted the answer is recorded, and the difference could be in milliseconds, micro milliseconds even. So that has to be captured so as to understand who has given the answer first, and accordingly the candidate gets the markings. Just like in India, we have a TV show called Kaun Banega Karodpati. So we have a fastest finger first over there. So there comes a question, people participate into it. Whosoever is the fastest one to answer the question will get to interact with the Amitabh Bachchan of India. Okay, and he is allowed to play a game with him so that he can earn 2 crores out of that game. So such kind of leaderboards things, if you want to create real time analytics, or if you want to do some kind of caching on the databases, then this is the service that you will be using by Amazon, that is Elastic Cache. So Aurora RDS for relational databases, DynamoDB for key value databases, DocumentDB for content management, that is the DocumentDB service, Elastic Cache for creating the caches, into the databases so that you get faster access. So the use case for that is leaderboard and real time analytics if you want to create something. So these are the different databases that Amazon offers you. Apart from these all, Amazon also offers you graph, time series, ledger, and wide column. Okay, so if I talk about the exam, which database will be asked in exam? So these are the two databases which are focused when you are getting a questions in examinations. Okay, so you also have to focus on these two only. We will be doing the practical of these two only, but then we will be giving you a theoretical knowledge of all the databases. So if I have to create any kind of databases where I have to store the graphical pattern of certain information that I am going to store in the databases, so then I'll be using this graph database, which is with the name Neptune, is available in Amazon. So if I want to quickly and easily create and navigate relationship between the data, if this goes up, it comes down, so that relational matrix comparison I have to do, so then I have to use basically this Neptune service in Amazon. If I want to have a time series to be stored where I collect, store, and process the data in a sequenced manner, okay, so then it is a time stream database. So if you have an IoT application or event tracking system, so then you have to use these time stream databases by Amazon. If you have to create some kind of databases where you want to have a complete ledger of something, when I say complete ledger of something, that means what? Like suppose, say, just imagine a situation when you buy a plot, that is a land. When you buy a land, the registrar who is sitting on his system, he is able to see this land currently belongs to whom, it was being used by whom before this, and then it is being transferred to whom, who was the witnesses while this selling was occurring, what was the prices at which earlier it was sold and now it is being sold. So the old data, the new data, the history, everything is maintained. So complete immutable verifiable history of all the changes that are being done on the data are recorded. So if that kind of databases has to be created and you need to store that information, you can use the QLDB service, that is Amazon Quantum Ledger Database, which is actually a ledger service by Amazon. So you can maintain the records, the supply chain management, healthcare, registrations, as I have told you, financial transactions if they are occurring on the share markets. So those kind of informations can be where the verifiable history has to be stored for the transaction. Just like you heard about the bitcoins, so they are also having a similar kind of thing. Who was the owner of the bitcoin before this, and who sold it, when sold it. So all those informations are stored in a verifiable history format. So such kind of databases if you want to create, it will be the quantum ledger database, which is actually built by Amazon to provide a complete and cryptographically verifiable history of all the changes that you have made on the application or on the data. It is whatever information you do, whatever changes you do, it is stored over there and it can be verified cryptographically. So most used case for that is actually the supply chain management, the healthcare system, and I can add up one more, the Bitcoin systems can also use these kind of databases where you can have a complete history which can be verified cryptographically, what changes, what transfers has happened on this particular databases. And the last one, it is the white column databases, which are actually scalable, highly available. Obviously all the services, the managed services which Amazon offers us are with this name. So if you want to have a Apache Cassandra kind of databases, so Amazon key spaces is the database that you need to use. So these are the different database services which are available. Apart from database, Amazon even offers you data warehouse services with the name Redshift. So from the exam point of view, if we talk about, it will be my RDS, that is actually the relational database, and my DynamoDB, which will come into the picture, and some questions related to your in-memory databases, that is your elastic caches. That's it. You won't be getting any questions from these I have never seen questions from this. But that doesn't mean that you should forget all these. You should know that Amazon offers document DB, Neptune databases, TimeStream, QLDB, and Cassandra also. You should know about it. But important are the three ones that I have ticked: relational, key value, and in memory.
We have put down everything about the certification, including the basic concept that one should know everything like introduction to AWS, security management, AWS, object storage options, designing computing environment, all the way networking and monitoring services, leverage Route 53 for hosting zones, database servers and analytics, application and messaging services, configuration management and automations, architecturing on AWS 1 and architecturing on AWS 2, as well as how to prepare for AWS Solution Architect examination. We offer CB preparation and most important on-job support. If you are interested, I would like to invite you for a 90-minute free class with our AWS certified expert trainer, which will not only help you to learn basics, but it will also give you an idea of the learning part to follow. This interactive session will help you to gaining an understanding of why and who should learn AWS, cloud services, cloud deployment model, and AWS services, demo on creating S3 bucket and make a data available to entire world, identity and access management, compute, storage, networking, and more other topics. You can register for this free class by visiting k21academy.com/AWSSA02. After landing on free class page, just click on book your seat now. Select the date according to your availability. Fill out your details like your name, email address, mobile number, and just click on Yes, save my seat. After that, it will redirect to the page where you will find all the information about this free class, like what we are going to cover and the webinar link. So guys, if you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up. If you have any doubts or queries, you can put them down in comment section. Our team will get back to you. I will see you in another episode. Till then, take care.